Hello, everybody. Today I've got a new guest, and I think the topic is very, very interesting. I'm going to be talking to Vishal Tandon, who I've known for more than 20 years now. And I've known him in another role altogether. My car has always been serviced there. I used to call him my car doctor. And they did a very good job at that as well. But over the last 3 years, he's become part of a new movement that is bringing drinkable water from the air to the home. And we're going to discuss this technology, the future of the technology, and how all of us could benefit from this new technology. So, welcome, Vishal,
Thank you
to
so
this
much, Gauri.
podcast with me.
Thank you.
And let's get straight into it.
Super.
What is this device all about?
Very interesting. So at AquaAero, we have had a vision that we are simply looking at how the world looks at water, especially drinking water. And not just extracting, we have started to generate water. And this was a very distinct belief till now, when people thought it was a remote impossibility and it was probably not scalable. Now we see that it is very practical. It's been over 3 years now that we are into it, and we call it हवा से पानी बनाने वाली machine, right? So it is very simple. It just extracts humidity from the air and
So,
condenses
just to
it.
interrupt you, many years ago, around the time of the millennium change, so when we entered 2000, a gentleman I know, Mr. Martin Nietzsche, had developed what was called a water pyramid.
Okay.
And it was a large inflatable kind of a plastic circus tent,
Correct.
totally enclosed, which would condense the water from the air that it had trapped.
Correct.
It would roll down the sides and be
Correct.
collected below. And that water then, with added minerals, could become drinking water for,
That's called the desiccant model.
Correct.
It still
And I know
exists.
there's a lot of
Yes.
these kind of models there.
Yes.
And even after that, with him, I worked on some other modules of water purification systems, and especially for villages and things like that.
Correct. Remote areas.
Remote areas. And also, one of the biggest problems is not just the scarcity of water, but the quality of water.
Contamination.
Yeah, which is very high in our country, because
without
we
saying.
have air contaminants, we have soil contaminants, and
Very natural.
water as it is has some contaminants. So that's the interesting part about your technology,
Correct.
that you create this water from air.
Correct.
And you have a piece of equipment that does it.
Correct.
Same idea, grab water, air, humid air from
we extract it.
environment.
Correct. Filter the impurities out.
Yeah.
And it gets condensed.
Yeah.
We reach a dew point where the water is collected in a sump, made to pass through a sediment filter so that there is no physical impurity left in that water. It is made to pass through a carbon filter,
Okay.
which takes care of all the odor in the air. I am sure, Gauri, you must have realized that a popular myth is that when there are so many pollutants in the atmosphere, how do you expect the water, which is being generated out of
Yeah.
an equipment which is known as atmospheric water generator, would probably even give you clean water.
Yeah.
And I face this day in and day out whenever we are putting machines, that a good number of people would come across ki we are not able to breathe this air and you're expecting us to make water out of it and drink it.
Yeah.
Well, let me clear this myth that any water which is extracted and dehumidified, for that reason you would call it condensation, and it is made to pass through a sediment filter. Humid air has only physical impurities. This is one part of it. It is also has absorbed impurities, which are known as volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds are all the dissolved gases which are there in the air, which some of them are essential, some of them are contaminants, some of them are real pollutants, but all of them are, whichever are dissolved in the humid air, they have to pass through a carbon filter, which is the one which will absorb all these VOCs, again as I mentioned, volatile organic compounds, and then that is the filter which actually makes it odorless, takes care of all the aroma, And then it passes, once the water is pure, it passes through a mineral filter.
Right.
Now, the good part about is that how I would differentiate groundwater and water from air or generated by an AWG is this groundwater, it is forced on you. The quality of groundwater can only possibly pass through a purifier, and it has its restrictions and limitations to bring you the purity. Okay.
It will bring cost with it as well.
It will. It goes without saying. But as of now, in India or in our country, we are a little far from valuing water the way we are supposed to.
Absolutely.
So, and as long as
In the West, it's metered.
It is
and I
metered.
know that many societies in Ahmedabad are also metering now.
No, it is a new RERA compulsion. Now,
Yeah.
the new buildings which are coming up have metered water to every single house
Yes.
that it goes.
So,
Thankfully,
yes.
I would say that we are going towards it. I'm sure we are
So
making big progress.
it will become a cost, and it will become a cost that everybody is aware of. So wastage will reduce.
It will reduce. Hopefully it does, because groundwater contamination also actually decides the rejection.
True.
If the contamination is higher, the rejection is higher.
Higher, absolutely.
So we are actually supposed to be addressing the issue for drinking water.
Correct.
And water used for other purposes other than drinking
should not need it.
Correct. It does not need that kind of rejection. But it certainly needs a descaling operation where you can actually control the rejection. The quality of water is good. You know, when we always discuss, when we go to countries abroad, the water coming out of the tap is potable.
Yeah.
There people don't have to use purifiers to actually consume water. It's very normal. We are a little too distant from that because our purification processes given to us by municipal corporations are not able to reach the dynamics. Probably the density of the population holds
and
us
the
from
old
doing
piping
that.
systems
the old
and the
piping
amount
system.
of people who
Yes.
tap into it in various other points.
Plus,
the way it's done,
plus
all that
we
happens.
do not recharge our ground as much as we are
And
supposed to.
our drainage systems, the sewage systems, often leak and leach into our drinking water.
Correct.
So this is another issue that
It
we
is.
face.
This is where the necessity of invention was there, where some place you could possibly have an equipment which could give you the cleanest drinking water you can think of.
Does it mean that water from your system is immediately drinkable?
It is immediately drinkable. Believe me,
but
it is
this fear that some other earlier systems have brought in, that it takes away your minerals and it causes all kinds of deficiencies, etc. What happens with that?
So let's take an example of an air conditioner. It also, the residual part of the air conditioning system is water. It conditions the air. It is primarily designed to condition the air. When it conditions the air, it actually purifies the air inside the room. Exactly what the equipment does is that it conditions water. The process more or less remains the same. We are also extracting water, and the air conditioner is also dehumidifying the room and also purifying the room. So if you were to look at it closely, the technology also brings in purity of water, and it is by default. Remember, any technology evolves over a period of time. As you go deeper and you start to learn, that is what you're supposed to do in the equipment more. And I'm very glad that we have achieved a situation now that the purification is actually something which is, you can modulate it the way you want it. You want mineral water, you need alkaline water, which is a fad these days. People talk about alkaline water day in and day out. And that is our compulsion too. There are people who come to us, say, alkaline water, how will it come? And then we have filtration processes, mineralization processes, which is the last part of the equipment where it actually delivers water which is mineralized. So any water, even the rainwater harvesting which is carried out, is safe to drink only once it is mineralized.
Yes. From what you just said, I remember another technology that I recently saw, where now they are going to extract the petroleum components which are floating in the air.
Correct.
And bring that back into the system. So reduce again costs and clean up the air with that kind of a system.
I hope they do sooner.
Right? And I remember also that there was another technology, and I think some petrol pumps have them, where they have these towers where they clean out the air around there.
Yes.
But there was some young innovators who were taking this carbon dioxide out, and they were creating diamonds out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And bringing that, so you had a byproduct from it,
Mhm.
and so there's so much happening.
It is.
Unfortunately, technology is something that we do uh, by the way, and this is something these are things that should be discussed on a dining table on a regular basis,
I wish.
especially water.
Yes.
What is the kind of climate, temperature, humidity for your kind of machine to work optimally? And what would be the minimum conditions it would work in?
Very simply put, tropical climates, coastal regions, and these are the sweet spots where the equipment will function to 90% of its capacity. Like any solar device, you have solar intensity which is not available to you during the rainy season, so you have less electricity generation. And similarly, when there is a situation where the humidity, the RH factor is low, we are low on production. But what we have worked out is that we have a deficit model. So we work on places where we have the entire year's humidity available to us, which is very normal, the weather forecast. And what we do is we designed the equipment in such a manner that the deficit of the humidity is taken care of by the storage. Okay, so assuming you need
which is not possible with solar.
Correct, which is not possible. You need huge amount of inverters and batteries to do that. Whatever you do, the solar will not extract energy during the nighttime, okay, post sunset. In my case, we have the advantage. We do it 24 hours. And the good part is that when you are not consuming water, I am making more water. Because nighttime humidity is always restored to over 50, even in the most arid zones. Okay. So that is the good part, that when the consumption is at its lowest, production and generation as its highest. So yes, we are challenged in areas which are extremely cold. A typical weather system which would be really ideal for the operation of our equipment would be 25 degrees temperature and a relative humidity of about 50, which should be good enough for it to produce 50% of its capacity. Okay.
So, like Ahmedabad, what is the ratio here?
Ahmedabad is 54% humidity around the year. So, we call it average humidity. Assuming that you have a 100-liter requirement at your residence or at your place of work, I would actually give you a 200-liter equipment to ensure that the deficit of the humidity is taken care of the production and the storage model. So, it works. We have yet to have situations where we are challenged where the water was not produced. Water was produced, but it was low. But the deficit model, the tank which we had, took care of the default in the humidity.
Right. And I also saw somewhere that there are certain professions that really have to depend on water for periods of times when there is no access to water. Wouldn't this be fantastic for them? But if they are moving, what happens then?
Great. That is the best thing to ask, Gauri. We did this project for the BSF and the Army in Bhuj, and I'm very glad I was associated with this. That the problem with the BSF guys, I'm giving it to you as an example, is that water is given to them by the nearest municipality which comes as per the government norms, and it is free of cost. So there is a carbon footprint involved in transporting water from the nearest municipality to a 200-kilometer region, which is the border post, the outpost for BSF. They are really challenged for water, and to this extent that the contamination of the water that they are forced to consume makes them have diseases like jaundice and gastro. So what they did to battle this situation, that a sentry which is posted at the BSF outpost will 3 days be on the post and 3 days back to the headquarters just to take a shower and drink clean water. Now this is the kind of situation. To battle this, we gave them an example of a mobility platform. Well, the technology comes from Israel, and the necessity over there was to support their forces with water wherever they were going. So they were the ones who actually designed a mobility platform. And now I'm very glad that nobody in India has done it so far. We have made a mobility platform. We tried it with them. Now they are going to be adapting the technology because they have to figure out the vehicles. And there are some pictures, of course, we can share subsequently where the experiment where the platform, their truck had a water generator and it was connected to the power source which was there at the base station, and this truck could move to places wherever the Jawans were there on the post, and they were having water in plenty, like, even an arid zone like Bhuj was giving us in the cold December and January were producing 300 liters of water for just 7 people. They were actually having a shower with that water because it was like a bliss for them. They have never seen
Which
water.
reminds me of that other story that you said,
Correct.
where this was installed, I think, in somebody's home.
Yes.
And it was the husband was worried that there was
No
not
water being
more
produced.
water.
Yeah. Ask me about it. And it was a battle because we kept on receiving a complaint that the water machine is not making no water and it is just a humbug. And so I forgot to share this with you, but all our machines have IoTs. We have a dashboard. I can see whatever equipment, wherever it is placed, because each equipment comes with a GPS and a GSM and GSM antenna. I can find out which machine is consuming what power and what is the amount of water it has generated in the last 24 hours, weekly, monthly. I have the whole data bank. And to tell you this, we have just introduced predictive water generation. Next 5 days, what this machine is going to produce is also there on my dashboard. So you are always knowing. So
then you know whether you can wash your hair
correct.
with the water or
coming
not.
back to that problem, we went and attended it and we realized that the machine is making water. Where is the water going? And then the lady of the house comes up, ki the water from the machine is so pure, my hair is getting a lot of attention because of that water. So instead of using that water for drinking application, she was using that water to shampoo her hair. And the husband actually looked at her like, you seriously did? I said, this is gross. But anyway, it was very interesting. So the machine does make water. It has distinct advantages because we are very low on hardness and turbidity. So it does a lot of good things to your body, for sure.
And in what capacity ranges do you supply? So domestic, for a family of how many would one machine suffice?
A 50-liter LPD is our lowest capacity equipment, which can, in the worst of the humidity conditions where the humidity is lower, we would be producing 20 liters a day. An average family of 4 consumes 20 liters of water per day, drinking, cooking, and all other applications, drinking water. So that is taken care of by the machine. And so we have a 150-liter machine subsequently, which is good for medium offices and large families where they have an independent bungalow and the machine is parked under their solar plant or on the terrace. And now we have made it very simple, like an RO machine has, normal water purifier have, that they have a faucet on the sink. So the lady of the house or people who are using water do not really have to go scattering everywhere. There is a faucet on the sink which delivers them clean AWG produced water there.
Now, let's say that I've installed it in my apartment and I move. Can I take it with me?
Yeah, it's the size of a washing machine, like any other equipment. It's a plug-and-play device. You won't even need anybody to come and
And then what happens if there's no electricity?
Well, we are grid dependent, like any other equipment for sure. We will not be able to produce water if there is no power for sure. But as I mentioned again, I have given you a deficit model. There is a storage device there. So even if you do not have electricity to produce water for say next 6 hours, the tank is good enough to make sure that your supply is taken care of.
And can you have a solar option with it?
Oh, brilliant. This is the best combination you can ever think of. Sustainable energy and sustainable water. They go like hand in glove, like, we are working very closely with a lot of solar companies to adapt this because once they have sold the solar, to them it is a dead customer in the sense like all you do is O&M, operation and maintenance. What next? It is a capital investment. You gave him sustainable energy even when there was energy available. Water is not available in the sense either it is contaminated or it is in scarcity. So this works best in a solar compilation. Since we are in Gujarat, we understand what is the dominance of the solar players over here and the government incentives are so good that people are actually investing on it. We are working very closely with the government to actually make that same subsidy available for water as well. We are half the price of what an average domestic solar unit would cost. So this is like something for a lifetime. For the next 15 years, you don't even have to look at your drinking water needs. You are secure. We are secure.
But you do use filters in this.
Normal.
And those have to be replaced?
Once a year.
So basically, it's like having a regular water purifier, the same kind of systems that apply there in a sense, but it is better water.
Far better
and
than
it's,
what you have.
Out of the air.
It is out of the air.
So you're not dependent on groundwater, you're not dependent on Narmada water, you're not dependent on pipelines.
We are not complaining.
Yeah.
Is what we would say. That, usually groundwater has these reservations. There is a limit to which you can purify it. Okay,
It's also a limit as to how much you can pull out.
Well, we have yet to reach that situation. We are doing it unprecedentedly, regardless, and the proximity of the buildings which are coming up in the vicinity have zero plan on water. Although I'm very glad that there are institutions like IGBC, Green Building Councils, lead architects which are designing the buildings. But let me tell you that water is not on their priority.
No, but my previous guest on water subject also spoke about water points that you could get. Like you can carbon credit, you can get
Big
water
time.
credit.
Big time.
And this would be fantastic for that kind of a system.
It would be.
Right? So
and
I
you
think
can have a centralized unit mounted on top of a building with a metered supply to each house with zero water rejection. Imagine that every water purifier rejects 100 liters of water per day per flat. So if I have 100 flats, what is the amount of water I am rejecting? I have to give you figures.
Yeah.
If I am able to sustain that rejection and not be there, imagine the amount of good I will be doing to the society, to the ground resources that we are. It is misutilization of groundwater because it is coming to you.
But then we are in Gujarat. If we monetize anything, if we give them water credit for this, which they can deal with,
the builders.
Right, the builders, they can definitely gain from this in a big way.
There is something in the IGBC which says that if you are able to resourcefully manage water, and I'm not talking about STPs and ETPs, you have rainwater harvesting as priority, and also if you are able to contain rejection of water, you get 0.25% more FSI index, which pays for the machine itself.
Yeah.
So exactly like you do on power, you have sustainable sources of power. The good part is that municipal corporations have now been clearing plans where solar is mandatory, as in 30 to 40% of your common power has to come from sustainable energy. If they were to do this for water as well, believe me, we would be actually putting off the crisis for a much longer period than what we expect.
Absolutely true. And with the water that we conserve from the drinking portion, we have that much more to give our plants.
That is wishful thinking, Gauri. Right? I really wish we all start thinking alike in this manner. But yes, very true.
Because a lot of places we don't have enough water for even our plantation.
Even plantations.
Because we need to consume for ourselves.
This is something very interesting that we come across when we go to rural areas and we approach them. The challenge for them is that the groundwater is so contaminated that the yield which they get is also now
contaminated.
Is challenged. Plus the quality of the yield which they get is something which is beyond them to accept.
So I'll tell you, because I've helped a lot of companies export fruit and vegetables, and how much rate of Indian fruit and vegetables get maximum rejection in Europe.
I am not surprised.
Right, because of the pollutants that they carry.
I am not surprised.
And this is part of, like I said, air, soil and water. So I'm sure at some point you will get a request for better water, for irrigation.
We are working
on it. And to create
also,
let's say, export quality food. But we need better
Gauri,
food
as
ourselves.
Of now, I must say that the technology is still in a stage where we are able to apply this, but we are a little far from scaling it to that level. But believe me, if
But
we are
if we do drip
hydroponic
it,
correct. So
and drip
hydroponic
it,
farming is now a combination with AWG, atmospheric water generators, because there is humidity within the terrain in which you are
Yeah.
doing the farming, right?
Yeah.
And the machines are able to produce water with zero hardness.
Yeah.
And then that's what intensifies the yield
Yeah.
and the quality of the yield.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is established.
Yeah.
And we are talking to a lot of people. I hope this podcast reaches to people who are into hydroponic farming, and that they are able to adapt this, because the requirement of water within that domain is very less. But at the same time, the quality of water is very, very
matters,
important.
yes.
This I am sure will be able to address the problem.
But I'm sure also through drip irrigation, you would be
time.
able to do larger fields.
The drips get choked because of the
Exactly.
scaling.
So a lot of drip irrigation
correct.
itself will improve.
Improve, yes.
Because
Big time.
of this.
Big time.
So there's a lot of advantages, hidden advantages at this point, I would say.
There are, water is something in which it's just endless. You know,
Yeah.
you keep thinking about the areas of application, and you will not see the sky. Sky is the limit there.
Yeah. So let's collect the sky.
Yeah, of course, this is what we are into.
From the sky.
We are extracting water from the sky and making sure it is the
let's
abundance.
hope that the sky gives us more and more back from what we have wasted.
There is one fact which I must share with you. The amount of water available on the earth compared to the water which is there in the atmosphere, 6.2 million times more than what it is available on the earth. So imagine what we have. It is in abundance. It's just that we need the right platform, the right equipment, the right dispensing to make sure that we don't even waste that.
Yes.
Oh, we have very interesting people who come to us. Ki pachi, if you withdraw the humidity from the air, then everything is going to die. Where is the humidity going to come from? Not realizing that humidity is a never dying factor, because evaporation never stops, right? The rains are going to be there, the clouds are there. So humidity is something which is always...
The plants are there.
Yes,
they're also constantly giving off.
back, yes. So this is a myth which people do, and
I think this is not a myth. This is just lack of education. Your first lesson in school, if you paid attention, was take a glass jar, put cotton in it, put some seeds on the side, pour water, and watch the plant grow.
Yes.
Right? And if you enclosed it, you have those big bottles in which terrariums, they are called. In which you can circulate this whole thing, and you never have to add water to it. Never open up the thing, and the thing keeps living. Right?
It does.
So that's exactly what the globe is all about. And so people pay attention in school.
We need to start respecting our groundwater resources a little more than what we are doing now, even a little.
No, I think we need to understand our biodiversity as a whole. And how each thing kind of fits into the other and manages everything. Humans can make a huge difference.
Oh, big time.
By doing it right and not messing it up. And water is one of those things we could mess up big time. But with technology like this and groundwater recharging and all these kind of activities. And
so this is a whole ecosystem. The solar energy, which is sustainable, rainwater harvesting, which recharges the groundwater, atmospheric water generators coupled with the solar, they make a great combination of sustainability for individual units. You know, people can do this on their own. It's like their individual contribution to the society. They've already invested in a solar. The next best thing they can do is rainwater harvesting, and have a combination where rainwater harvesting takes care of non-drinking water requirements and the AWG takes care of their drinking water requirements. We are good. We are not taking anything from the atmosphere now.
Another idea comes to me.
Yes.
A solution like this could solve problems for also travelers. You know, we don't have cities, where you have fairs and things like that, and people get thirsty, and all these plastic bottles turn up everywhere. We could resolve that also by placing more of these machines everywhere.
We are going to be an Olympic city soon, and I am sure everybody has heard about it. But I must tell you this, that one match at a stadium, a 4-hour IPL match, generates 8 tons of plastic okay, which is just 4 hours. Imagine you were to play the match for 5 days, or you would or have Olympics for 30 days. What is the kind of plastic which would be generating? We are definitely not aiming at sustainability if we are not able to take control of that. These are the best things to do, is that community places have sustainable drinking water resources, so that plastic bottles are not the ones. They have to be now gradually fizzled out,
yeah.
right? They have to be phased out, and we have to have places where incidentally we have developed a great ATM machine now, so which is coupled with an atmospheric water generator where you can dispense water. So we have a provision to take care of bulk supplies as well, and new stadiums, new buildings which are coming up are all green buildings. They are the ones primarily supposed to be focusing on water resources which are not used from the ground. Everything else other than ground, or restricting them. If you are using 90%, please make it 20% and use 80% of other resources. I understand it is impossible to actually eliminate the use of groundwater, but even reduction makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely.
Big difference.
And as
that
long
is
as
what
we
call
recharge it
sustainability.
correctly,
Correct.
then we can reuse it also in the right way.
So when people talk about sustainability, and when I go to institutions and we discuss sustainability, Gauri, it is the most overrated word in the industry today.
Tell me about it.
And we would talk to people, and the biggest drawback here is like, what next? What do I do next for sustainability? Water ko to kaise karenge? वो तो free है. Why are we supposed to like spend money in generating water? You are spending money in having a power source which is sustainable, and it is expensive. 15 years ago, did we ever think that solar is going to be the next revolution?
And it still got subsidy. If you take away the subsidy, not many people will opt for it.
Gauri, I promise you, the way solar revolutionized the energy, sustainable energy, AWG is the next best thing to happen to the world. We will have sustainable drinking water, reducing our need on groundwater, reducing our dependence on groundwater. We need to respect the nature.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And this is one way of doing it. Costs which come along with it. We never discussed this, Gauri, but the most interesting thing I must share with you. You know what is the cost of producing water by air? Like the cost
per liter?
Per liter, 1/10 the price of bottled water today. You buy a water at 20 rupees a liter from a branded source. My water comes to you at 2 rupees a liter if you make it on grid. And if you make it in solar, it comes at 80 paise per liter. Like, really?
Yeah.
This is the difference. Big time. Like, we have to even just start today, and my operation cost is just 2 rupees a liter.
So definitely worth it.
I am sure it is. We just have to start looking at it.
I think we should, after this podcast, go down and speak to the director at AMA.
Yes, I totally that this is what we need to do next.
That they need one of these systems here. Yeah, and they have to do away with all the bottles.
At home. Yes, charity begins. We have lots of them. We have them here. This is something, and this is something which we don't want to have in future.
So they can have glass bottles then.
Yeah, very normal. Yeah. Institutions.
Refillable.
I am very proud to say that a multinational in Gujarat like Adani, across the country does not use plastic bottles. They all have glass bottles, whether it is for self-consumption, whether it is for the guests. There are no plastic bottles. I am very proud to say that there is an institution like that which believes in that there is no plastic bottle anywhere. AMA is the next one. Charity begins at home, Gauri. Let's do it here first.
All right. Let's end on this note. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a lot from this, because this is definitely a talk that was on my list for quite some time. And more on water options. And please start thinking about where and how you can solve this problem and many other such problems. Till next time, thank you.
Thank you, Gauri. Thank you so much.